And as communication service providers modernize their IT and network stacks, the shift to cloud-native open digital architecture represents both a technical and strategic transformation. This panel explores the foundational steps CSPs must take from legacy migration and modularization to containerization and open API integration. Joining us are Dr. Sudhir Kumar Mittal. He's Executive Vice President and Director of Architecture at Jio Platforms. And next to him is Sandeep Arora. He's Senior Vice President and Head of Sales, India, APAC, MEA at Rakuten Symphony. And gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I know it was a bit of a rush getting on this session, so we appreciate your time and your patience. Sandeep, I want to start with you if you don't mind. CSPs really must shift from this legacy architecture to a truly cloud-native ODA environment. What are some of the challenges there?
So thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to be here. So for me, I know we want to coin this word at CSP. It should be a cloud service provider, not just a communication service provider. But having said that, I think we are a journey where we were 5 years back is not going to be there. What's 5 years from now on? And the focus obviously is the evolving needs of our customer. And that's where the whole technology bit starts. What are the needs we are going to fulfill, and where are the ones we are going to create for them to define the experience as well as grow our business? That's a framework we need to look like from a business perspective. Convert that to a technology view. What are we trying to achieve for them in an experience part? I personally feel the challenge is what we have seen in traditional CSPs have been a lot of inertia in accelerating the space at which the customer wants to fulfill their needs. And this inertia is based on the fact that there are heavy technology debt, not just financial debt, but there are technology debts which are mounting on them, which will be, I feel, more than any of the financial debt over time to come. And they will be sitting with heavy loads of legacy, which were following yesterday's requirements. I think the CSPs needs to look forward, build a blueprint for 5 to 10 years from now, and where do they land? For me, for right now, the mantra is 3 A's, I'll call it. Automation, API, and definitely AI.
Dr. Mittal, as we move towards these ODA components, what are the interoperability and maybe some of the standardization challenges that you see?
Yeah, I think there are mainly in CSP and obviously in Jio as well, which is a huge CSP having 500 million customers already operating and 200 million 5G customers and so on. It's a world #1 data company. The mantra is, or the objectives are always agility, scalability, interoperability, and fungibility. So I'm talking in terms of the IT stack. Now, one of the things you talked about is interoperability, and that's where we Jio, which is an operation of starting from 2016. So today we are in 2025. In 9 years, the journey has been twofold. One was obviously the greenfield part, in which we adopted the best of the architectures, including TM Forum, the frameworks, ETOM, say, TAM, TIP, and all that. And then all over those processes were getting scalable. But then beyond the point, the technology changed and a lot of evolution which happened. For example, from SOAP-based API, we were now on open APIs. From the traditional platformization, we were on the componentization. So that is the kind of a shift. So that was the second part of the whole journey, which was brownfield. So in that case, in about 3, 4, 5 years, it was no more a greenfield kind of challenge for Jio.
Yeah.
So there again, we had to flip our strategy a bit and then continuously evolve, aligning to the standard. So the interoperability today means that we need to be having standard processes, standard information models, and standard open APIs. And open APIs, again, the backend schemas, standard schemas, and then the componentization, that creating a functional component, and then the deployment on something like ODA Canvas. So that brings, the interoperability naturally.
Sandeep, as we move towards this cloud native ODA framework, how does DevOps and CI/CD play a role there?
To me, those are very foundational and fundamental in nature, because the way we are maturing our journey to a cloud native platform is a journey. It's not just a point of such time which we look at it. And what we have learned in our experience from Rakuten, because Rakuten is a technology company, we see right now a lot of teams out there from telcos to techco. Actually, we were a techco company, and we are now trying to be also a telco company. So we understand what it takes to build these models and being a technology company. Obviously, ODA framework fits well into what the telco service provider should look as they drive towards that cloud native journey, which helps them to be a technology company at the end of the day. And CI/CD and DevOps is foundational primarily because there is a lot of maturity in the coding and what are requirements coming out to it. I will also add on to the fact that AI will play a very big role in terms of developing these telco or build these frameworks in time to come, because the coding will be done a lot through over time through AI, and how will we use that in the framework of CI/CD will be an important part to it.
I'm just going to break. Or did you want to say something? Or
Oh yeah, so I'll tell from the experience of a big telco. Although I mean, just prior to that, the objective of Jio when it was set up was to create a digital society, and that was for like 1.4 billion people of India, and that digital society creation naturally had impact on multiple businesses. One was obviously telecom, and then we had retail, media, entertainment, financial services, manufacturing. So what we were creating is a digital ecosystem which is serving so many areas. Now the challenge with typically a telco or that kind of environment is our CI/CD or the agility, which we want to talk about. So if the platform have an impact which is like a huge dependency of forward side components or backward side component, and taking a small upgrade in the release is a big issue, and it takes really a lot of validation and a lot of resistance to put it on the production. And that's where this ODA certification and ODA based implementation comes handy. So the moment I talk about the componentization, then it's and of course I have ODA Canvas, which is the ready deployment platform, which provides us observability, the security, the data governance, all of that ready made. So the moment you have a component release ready, you can automate the whole regression in just one click. You have shift left and shift down, and it becomes very easy to bring a huge agility with this kind of a automated CI/CD pipeline. So that ODA definitely helps there.
ODA's certainly introducing more microservices, disaggregated components. How can CSPs really manage service assurance and really this operational complexity, Sandeep?
That's actually a very great question, because service assurance and the complexity which comes out of it from an operation perspective is going to be very important and critical for the success. I think at the end of the day, what we will look out and how we look at Rakuten is that any network, even a RAN, a telco network, is going to be a large data centers. It's going to be a composition of micro data center at the edge, and we'll have big data centers at the central part of it. So BTA site will be a one server data center, and that's how the whole network will come out to be, what we believe over time. And RAN and other are just application running over these data center, and that's how we have constructed this network over time. And we have taken that contrarian view of how things will be built. Now, having to make this thing happen, what you need is a cloud native infrastructure to build such a scalable data center countrywide from edge to your central place. And that becomes very critical for us, that once we have built this whole cloud native platform of data center and RAN is an application over it, or other application which we want to use it, which some of them might be an AI based application which will come over time. What is critical is how do we manage the life cycle of this with operations and how do we build that? That's where microservices become so important because it's not, we need to just break the whole thing for only one application going down. That's where the microservices and cloud native platform becomes very foundational to operation and how you manage service assurance, service orchestration, and circuit observability.
As we move towards these cloud native ODA environments and really keeping in mind CSPs wanting that long-term agility and also avoiding a vendor lock-in, what are some of the governance models and maybe some of the architectural principles that need to be implemented?
Yeah, so I think there are multiple aspects of a governance thing, whether it's data governance, it's the security governance, and the observability, and the whole managing the whole microservices. So it becomes a jungle of microservices and applications, hundreds of thousands of them, typically brownfield telco. So what we are trying to do now is utilize AI and ODA. So when we bring the AI and ODA, then this jungle seems to be simplified, really, because then machine does the job. So what we have done is put all of these artifacts, and whether it's Jio's artifact or whether it's TM Forum standard artifact and all in a RAG repository, put AI in front and create MCP services and put the governance of security or observability or data on the ODA canvas as operators. Even the async API as event management, the TM Forum 688, those kind of APIs again coming as operator. So this becomes a very, very clean architecture and a scalable architecture and manageable architecture, wherein, primarily there are two aspects for a developer. One is the discovery and another is the generation. And for operations, it's like observability and then self-healing, self-correction. So, these multiple things joined together in a great framework like ODA is really solving the puzzle for us.
Just one point I'd like to add, I think he's well spoken about it. See, traditionally, as a CSP, we have been looking at a very telco-centric approach of how we manage the whole life cycle of the network. And our view is little contrarian because if we are looking that a network at the end of the day is going to be a data center, a countrywide data center, we need to look like from a how do we manage typical data centers and IT-based approach also. Now, it goes across security, across governance, across all those aspects of it. But that's a different approach we need to look at. Because at the end of the day, what we believe is that these are going to be applications only. And they are going to sit on your data centers over time. And the approach you drive for governance needs to be little shifted from and managing cloud native, shifting from a typical telco-based governance to an IT-based thought process also at times. That's a little different view of looking at things, but that's our thought process.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, when we say governance, these are not like IT governance or central governance. What we are talking about is completely shift left and shift down. So wherein the whole power comes in the left side, the developer in the hand of developer, in the hand of the CI/CD initiator. So all of that becomes a self-governed thing, and the AI and its specific implementation does help in automating. So we don't have to create a lot of inefficiency. Rather, we create an efficiency of productivity which is 100 times. So that kind of agility and scalability is something we are talking about with self-governing framework, which ODA talks about.
Sandeep, and I'll ask Dr. Mittal as well, just sort of a final question here. If we're sitting here this time next year talking about cloud native ODA, what do you think the topic should be or will be?
These days time is so unpredictable at every environment. It's very tough to manage.
Right. It's moving so fast.
It's very tough to look at it. But I think the focus will be more about going more deeper on as I started with. How do we leverage APIs? I think he talked a lot about it. How do we leverage AI and go deeper into use cases and seeing some proof coming out of it? Because at the end of the day, we need to change gears now. We have been talking of frameworks and discussion, but have we put them in execution, and where they are working, what is not working well? Because that's going to be learning. So I think next year should be changing gears and looking at some execution proofs points of learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Dr. Mittal?
Yeah, I think today we are talking about multi-agent, multi-turn, multilingual, multimodal, all of these things. But the key thing is multi-agent. And today we are talking about AI as a governance framework, or AI as an operator, or AI doing some as a part of tooling. But maybe after 1 year we talk about everything AI native. So and that's the architecture we are working at Jio as well, where the AI is an integral part of all my components, and we democratize AI that way. And what we talk about is intent-based interfaces, intent-based APIs. I think that kind of a implementation at a scale is something we are going to talk about maybe next year.
Interesting.
Are we going to get AGI next year?
Oh, by the way, for the audience out there, they were saying ODA, that's Open Digital Architecture. I said ODA in the introduction, just for clarity for the audience. Certainly a lot of runway for this discussion. I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot more as this is moving so quickly this time next year. So Sandeep, Arora with Rakuten Symphony, thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me here.
And Dr. Mittal, as always, thanks for scheduling with us way in advance and being very patient with a lot of the activity here at the conference.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.